You know what time it is. It's 49ers free agency time. Team is full of free agents, and they're going to have to find a way to supply their needs and refuel, and get back to Super Bowl. How are they going to do it? We're going to talk about that right here on the Wayne Breezy Show with the one and only John Chapman.
Breezy this, breezy that. They know I'm gold-blooded. I got the Niners on my back, you know. Breezy this, breezy that. Ain't nobody working like Breezy, and that's a fact. Overmotivated is an understatement. Gold-blooded to the core, got your squad hating. Breezy make it look easy. Breezy on everything like 05067 Wheezy. This is not a gang. Yeah, we faithful in every way. And even though we on the East Coast, very loyal to the Bay. Heavy red and gold every day. And if you really a Niner fan, I know you can relate. Applying pressure with this content like Smaller Bear. We not accepting no slander about Trey, so beware. I stay in exclusively Niner hats. And I always tell the truth, this exclusively Niner facts. Breezy this, breezy that. They know I'm gold-blooded. I got the Niners on my back, you know. Yeah. Breezy this.
Hey, what's going on? We touched down, man. It's your boy Breezy. It's your boy John. It's the John and Wayne Show right here on the Wayne Breezy Show. What's going on, John?
Dude, I'm so pumped, man. I'm finally getting like the little inch that could. Like I got through the I don't know, depressing part of the season ending, and now I'm like pumped and excited about the future and the draft and free agency and this upcoming season, and I'm pumped to be here, man. I look forward to Friday mornings now because of you.
That's what I like to hear, John. I've actually, you'll be proud of me. I started watching film on free agents, which is the most boring shit ever because they're not on my team. Like, so now I got to watch different schemes, different players, and how they could fit. And it's fun. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all so much for being here. Shout out to some of everybody. We got the early people in the pod. Big Papa was early, said he can't watch the show, but he's definitely going to watch it on the reprise. Fernando, 49ers _ throwback is here. Good morning. Prize and Shine. I think you meant Rise and Shine, but I like Prize even better. DeMarcus is in here. All right. Uncle Scott's in the building. What's going on, baby? The off season begins. Callie wants to wish Michael Jordan, the GOAT, the greatest basketball player of all time, a happy birthday.
No debate.
No debate. Christy Marie is in the building. Young Montana, I see you out there. Marty Marr is in the building. What's going on? My man Eddie G is in the building. Felicia, I see you out there. Oh man, let's have a great show. What's going on, Terrence? How you doing, baby? All right, listen. Today's show is going to be cool because John and I are going to break down some scenarios with the 49ers salary cap and free agency. Whether they're signing their own free agents or whether they're going to be able to sign or whether they're going to be able to make a splash in free agency. And I think that's what you guys want, right? And don't worry, it's not going to be a one-show thing. This is going to take some time. Things are going to end up changing depending on certain things that go down within the 49ers. But before we do, let's get to some of the 49ers news, man. They know it, guys. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Bang. All right, boom. We'll leave it at that. It's Friday. Friday shows are quicker. Let's get to some news. The 49ers, John, hired Clint Kubiak, and they're going to give him a nice offensive role position within the 49ers organization. John, I love the wording in that because where in the hell will he be in the 49ers organization?
My assumption is passing game coordinator, but that's not really his forte. His forte is run game coordinator, but Chris Forrester has that role. So there's some movement that they could do. They could bump, Forrester to assistant head coach, Kubiak there. They could put Kubiak in assistant head coach role if Aaron Lynn leaves. Like, there's some movement that needs to take place. And all of this just has to do with salaries and protecting them from being poached in the future. So let me just say this. Kubiak coming in with his brother. Now there's two, Clint and Clay. It's the Shanahan way. The Shanahan loyalty program lives on. Is this a great hire? I don't think as far as like ceiling of coaches, this is the type of guy that'll be an offensive coordinator or a head coach one day. I don't see that taking place. But the strength of this hire is in the familiarity with Shanahan's scheme and the familiarity with Shanahan. So Shanahan's getting one of his dudes that he gets to be around after losing. They lost 17 out of 21 coaches the past 2 years. 17 out of 21. So familiarity is important at some point, and perhaps they could adjust the kind of slow season start offensively that they've had in the past.
I think it's
Perhaps.
important to bring in people that he is familiar with, people that he is comfortable with, like you said, to negate those slow starts, you know. And I was saying to Mike yesterday on Nothing But Niners, like sometimes that slow start isn't just because of the players, it's because you have all these new coaches trying to get acclimated to the head coach's system, the head coach's way. And you see it happen, you saw it happen last year. The team just looked slow and it started slow. And some of it had to do with just the coaching being able to adjust. And then once they got into that rhythm, once they got into that groove, once they got their groove back, it was just like, oh, we're going to just keep riding and churning the wheels. And so this is an important hire, in my opinion, right? It's Kubiak Shanahan. I don't care what the lineage, I don't care what decade that you have them together. As long as there's a Kubiak and the Shanahan pairing, it's going to mean something good is going to happen. Clay's been here for a while, and now we're getting the brother Clint. I feel like the best thing from this situation is there could be a possible free agent signing from the Minnesota Vikings.
I loved it when you text me. My face lit up. It's always lit up. It's always red like a Christmas tree. But Christmas trees aren't red. But I was like, I saw your text and I was like, hell yeah. So I don't want to steal your thunder.
No, this is perfect because we set it up on the John and Wayne show when you asked me about who do I want to bring in as a free agent, and I said we need a center, and I said I wanted to get Connor McGovern, and you said you liked this
Garrett
particular
Bradbury.
person in Garrett Bradbury, and I'm saying yeah, but yeah, I want the sure thing, and not another project, and go figure, we hire Clint. Clint possibly maybe bringing a new center to the San Francisco 49ers. So that might be actually cool. Like, you know what I mean? I sat there and I said I was watching film on these players, so I had to go and get some film. The highlight reel for him was him catching that tipped pass from Kirk Cousins off of a defender back into his hands for a game. So that's his highlight reel. But the thing that I did like about him, John, which I had to go back and watch, is his quick snap fire off the ball and him getting, sealing out that, his, where he is, he's sealing out. He's really quick, really good feet. He's able to seal out. He's really good in the run game.
Yes.
He's really good in the run game. That's what I've been watching so far. And then he's able to get to that second level and still make the seal. So it's just like, oh, snap, this guy might actually fit. Now, he was in a car accident. He did have some injuries, but I don't know if Minnesota's going to be looking to move on from him. That was their former first-round pick in 2019. What are your thoughts on Garrett Bradbury again?
I like him. I'd say he might be he gave up 2 sacks last year. Okay. Correct. And so maybe he's a slight downgrade in pass protection, which you hear that as a Niners fan, you're like, whoa. I don't want that. But he is a major upgrade in the run game. And we have talked a lot on my channel and your channel about how Jake Brindle definitely outperformed what everybody expected. However, in the run game, he did not. Pass game, he did. He was great. Run game, terrible. He was not good all year long. He was sufficient, but not good. In the Shanahan scheme, you want your offensive linemen to excel in run blocking. That way the play action and all that stuff feeds off of that. And Brindle was kind of a misnomer there because he didn't really fit the traditional Shanahan offensive lineman mold. Garrett Bradbury does to a T.
I did a poll question this morning on Twitter, and the poll was, which center would you want? And I put up a couple of centers, Bradbury, free agent, Ethan, is it Posick out from Cleveland, I believe. And then I put up Jake Brindle, and I can't remember the other one that I put up there. But who would you want here? Would you want Brindle back?
I would prefer Bradbury over Brindle for a few reasons. One, he's 3 years younger. Two, he's a better scheme fit. Athleticism, I think they're on par. Two of probably the most athletic centers in the NFL. But just longevity, the fact that you could possibly get a center for the next 3 years 3 to 4 years. If you bring back Brindle, you're talking 1 to 2 years max. And we just continue this revolving door at the center position. I would prefer Bradbury, and I think they're going to be about the same price. Bradbury might be $1 million or 2 more, but not too much more.
I like that. We got a super chat contribution from Miss Jacqueline Knox. She's, hey, Wayne and John, all the faithful and all the faithful, have a great day. Thank you so much, Jacqueline.
Man, I hope that move is going well, Jacqueline. Just thinking about you yesterday. So just you got this, girl. You got this.
It's cold out in Colorado, man.
It is cold. Oh, I'm rocking. Oh, this is Utah, but that's okay. I'm rocking my ski shirt today.
Speaking of Utah, man, the All-Star game is this weekend. Any thoughts?
Luka.
Tatum. Yes, we're doing it on this show. But that, I'm sitting here saying, all right, the 49ers, they have a lot of necessary needs. Like they need a lot of players, a lot of quality players, and then they also need depth. And I feel like they're going to take care of the depth. But the question is, how do they get better and get those quality players? Because they're going to be losing some guys. All right. And so let's start with that. Let's start with who we're going to be losing on the offensive side. And I believe it's just those offensive linemen. Ross, you can add the 2 tight ends, Ross Dwelley and Tyler Kroft. Those guys probably won't be back with the 49ers. Any other key losses on the offensive side?
So just people that are scheduled to go to free agency: McGlinchey, Brunskill, Brindle. Those 3 are the big ones. Outside of that, Jimmy Garoppolo, but he's a foregone conclusion. He gone.
Yeah.
And I wish him the best, and I hope he does well. But he's gone. He's not coming back. And I still get lots of DMs and emails about how, man, I really think they're going to re-sign Jimmy. Let me just tell you,
it's not
Jimmy Garoppolo's getting $30 million plus.
Yeah.
$30 million plus per year where he is going. He ain't coming back.
He gave the Niners the discount of a lifetime this season.
And I'm thankful for everything Jimmy did.
100%.
But it's best for him. It's best for the Niners. It's best for everybody, probably this fan base, if he goes.
100%. 100%. All right. So, I mean, those are the key pieces on the offensive side. Let's go to the defensive side, because I think that's where we take the hit. And let's start with the levels. Let's do it by levels. Let's start at the top. Let's start with the cornerbacks, and then we'll go with the safeties, we'll go with the linebackers, and we'll go with the down linemen.
So you got Jimmy Ward. He's the big one. So Jimmy Ward and Tayshaun Gibson. Those are interesting because I think Ward's gone. I'm putting him in the Jimmy G category. He wants to play safety. He's made that known. He was upset whenever they moved him to nickel. Literally had an argument or conversation. And the way that Jimmy Ward put it was, I don't want to play nickel. And Kyle said, well, you want to ride the bench instead? Yep. And he said, all right. And I think at that moment right there, it was done. But Jimmy did his job as a captain, went out and balled out. He gone. He's not coming back. Tayshaun Gibson, I really hope they can talk into staying one more year.
They got to talk him out of retirement, because
they got to.
I feel like, I mean, I wish we could have won it for him too. I tell you what, had we won the Super Bowl, he was retiring. Easy decision.
And Tarvarius Moore as well. He's a player I do not want back in any facet. One of my least favorite special teams player of the year. He was terrible. He was terrible. Responsible for getting Bosa hit on the sidelines on the first. I was so pissed. So I want Tarvarius Moore to find a new spot. I think it's beneficial for him.
You just want Quantrez Knight to bump up into a spot.
I do, but I don't know what Tarvarius Moore does well. He's got ball skills and he's got speed on the back end, but
his ability to, I felt like he was always and I hate to say this, but like he wasn't a great student of the game.
No.
And I'm not trying to say that he was slow or whatever. He just could not adjust to what was going on. If this is when he was the best dime cornerback, like dime, when he was the dime backer, he was perfect. He had one role, he had one responsibility, and he looked like he had the flashes. And then it was when he had to take on more responsibilities, and then he had the injuries, and then it's just time to move on from certain players.
Yeah.
So I get that. So
And
let's start there.
you brought up Quantrez Knight,
I
who I
did.
do love, but I also love Tanner Hudson. Am I saying the name right?
Safety.
Uh-oh. Is that right? The other safety. Oh man, I hope I'm
Is
not
it,
wrong on
so
this
now
one.
we got two safeties, right? Because isn't Taylor Hawkins with us too?
Taylor Hawkins. I always do that.
No, but we
Sorry
had
about that.
Tanner Hudson. He was the tight end.
He was tight end. Sorry, my apologies. Yes, Taylor Hawkins is who I like as our kind of red shirt safety. Now,
Okay.
do I think that he should be fighting for starter snaps? I do not. I do think that he could be our number 3 safety. Odom's
Which
not a
one's these?
guy. He's a band-aid only.
Yes,
George Odom at safety position, great special teamers, great signing, but I don't want him fighting for that safety spot.
I agree with that. Because you want him to excel where he's great at. And if you need him to come in for a snap or two, boom, he could come in for a snap or two. We got a super chat contribution from Debster. She says the best duo in the game. Appreciate you. Appreciate you so much. Love the avatar too, by the way.
Yeah,
Uh,
Debster's incredible.
so that's it. That's your corner. That's your safety. That's what we're losing. You're losing Jimmy Ward. Listen, I have this affinity for Jimmy Ward. There's something about him that I want him to be here. I know he won't. Because there's going to be a team A that's going to allow him to play safety and that's going to pay him. And the
Right.
49ers, when we get down to the salary cap portion of the show, like we're gonna see, oh yeah, yeah, sorry, Jimmy. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And so it is what it is. But it just sucks because you're losing that dual threat. And that's why I was high on trying to get Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, because two things. One, he's young. Two, he doesn't have a problem where you play him. He just wants to play football. The only issue with trying to grab him is he's going to be in the money. He's going
He's going to be very pricey.
to
And
be super
so
expensive.
I think if they won the Super Bowl, the Eagles we're referencing here, there would have been a better chance to poach them. Usually players like to get paid after they win the Super Bowl. They cross off the ring. So I don't know. We'll see. His defensive coordinator left. We'll have to see what happens. It's a possibility, though. He fits what we do.
Definitely.
He's a fighter. That dude gets the most personal foul penalties. He calmed down a little bit this year, but
He
he's
did
a
calm down a
fighter.
little bit. He calmed down a little bit this year. But when he was with the Saints, good golly O'Malley, man.
Yep.
But yes,
He made Marshawn Lattimore look calm.
right. So it's funny. I really like the kid's play, and I think he'll fit well within the 49ers defense and the way that they play their defensive and their schemes, and his ability to just be there where the ball is. It allows Hufanga to play like free on that line and just be natural when you can trust those two guys. I think I like that. But I'm with you. I want to find a way to bring back Gibson, though. So I feel like if you do make the splash in the free agency for a guy like that, you still bring in that veteran. And then you still try to figure out if you can have Taylor Hawkins just get those reps. He's going to be on a special teams. He's going to get, what it is he needs. And if he has to come in, he gets there. All right, so let's get down to that middle level, because Azeez Al-Shaair is a free agent and he won't be coming back. The 49ers will be moving. He'll be moving on from the 49ers here to say. So let's talk about Azeez.
He's incredible. And I think that he starts on 25 teams in the NFL. Like, I mean, he's that damn good. And he's going to be the starting Mike backer for a team. He's going to get paid.
That's what I was trying to tell people, John. I was like, this dude is a Mike linebacker, bro. He can
incredible.
Run. Yeah.
Incredible. DFF also, he's a restricted free agent, so DFF will be back. He doesn't have any contract negotiating power. 49ers basically get to pick what they're going to count him for, probably third round pick status. But so yeah, you're talking that middle level. Now we did leave out Emmanuel Mosley. That is the big one we didn't bring up as far as just DBs. That's my fault. I do expect him to come back on a pretty cheap 1-year deal to rehab.
He's probably going to get the Jason Verrett type of a deal, which is cool because then he can kind of like bet on himself, and that can work both ways. That can work in his favor to whereas, see, y'all suckers didn't want to pay me, so I'm about to leave y'all high and dry the following year, or I don't know. It could kind of go both ways.
The Niners have bet on him so many times. He was undrafted free agent.
Yep, restricted,
and he started the Super Bowl his freshman year.
I know,
rookie year. So
I agree, but I think they bring him back and they ease him back into the rotation. When he's 100% healthy and ready to go, he's definitely your opposite starting Mooney Ward, hands down. So let's talk about back to the linebackers, right? Because you mentioned DFF. he's gonna get tendered, if I'm not mistaken. He's gonna end up
Correct.
with that tender type of a deal, and it is what it is, you know. I don't think he fits though the 49ers.
He's kind of like a George Odom play now. He came in on defense and was terrible. I forget what game it was. I think it might have been the Falcons, or no, it was the Chiefs game when Dre Greenlaw got hurt in the second half, and then DFF came in and the game was over at that point. Like literally, the first play, Greenlaw was out, DFF was in. That's where the blowout took place. But special teams has been good. He's been really, really good. So I think you're fine with him. He's going to be kind of that number 4, number 5 linebacker. Marcelino McCrary Ball, I think, is going to probably pass him on the
Ooh, I
depth
think he's
chart.
gonna get up, yeah.
Curtis Robinson, I think, is going to pass him on the depth chart. I think he's a special teams only player, and
And
that's not a bad thing.
remember, Robinson started the season off last week on the IR, and then
Yep.
it was just kind of like games. It was you come back, all right, now we're back again. Oh, we need another player. You're gonna go back on this. Like it was one of those type of things for him. So I would like to see what he can do as well. We're not talking about one linebacker. Who are we missing?
We got Aziz.
Warren
Let's see
Burks.
here.
Who?
Orrin
Yeah,
Burks is signed. He's not going anywhere. So he's going to be the starter. He's
that's
Orrin
not
Burks, I expect to slide into Aziz's role.
well, that's why I brought him up. I knew he wasn't free, but I wanted to know what you thought his role was going to be.
I thought
Moving.
he's incredible this year, man. I really, really did. Was he as good as Aziz? No, but that dude played starter level snaps.
Okay.
And I was very, very, very pleased with what he put on tape this year, and like literally jumped off the tape several times. And if we look at just the PFF numbers on what he did this year, like he had really good numbers. I'm trying to find him on there. Sorry, it's loading, but like the dude played really, really well all year. Orrin Burks. He didn't get a lot of snaps, but I really did like him. Really liked him.
I'm concerned. All right, so if all right, well, I
Oh,
like
he's
that.
number 6. Sorry, he was the number 6 overall defender for the 49ers from PFF, but
So
he only played 177 snaps.
right, limited snaps. But if Orrin Burks moves up to the Aziz role, right, which means he's only on the field during your base packages, blah 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 blah. Depending on the teams come out with 3 wideouts or whatever, you won't see much of Orrin Burks. And I think a lot of teams in the NFL are going to that. So teams have to have that good nickel. How important, John, is it to find the nickel back then? Because that's what we're missing, and not a lot of people aren't. We're not really sitting here talking about how well Jimmy ended up translating into a damn good nickel corner.
That's a mistake on my part. I was pretty rough on Jimmy early on because his transition was not smooth whenever
No,
he
it
came
wasn't.
in.
I,
But he got better and better and better. And if you look at the NFC Championship game, he was lights out. Now he gave up the catch, the one-handed catch that wasn't a catch. That was really bad coverage, but it was drop anyway, should have been whatever. But outside of that, he played incredible. Now, if you're talking about the number 3 linebacker, so again, let's put this, Aziz played 383 snaps this year. Jimmy Ward in the nickel played 640. So you're literally talking about a 2-for-1 importance level. So, yeah, Orrin Burks.
Hold on. Take a slight pause, John.
Yes,
what
sir.
I like to do on the show, especially when you're on here, we kind of want to break that down. We want to explain what that means.
Okay, so when teams come out in a double tight or a double back set, this is a 21 or 12 personnel. The way the numbering works,
running backs, guys. That's what he's talking
my
about.
first job as a coach was I was the personnel booth coach, where I just sat up in the booth and I would just watch the offensive huddles break. And, you'd have your tight ends numbers memorized and your running backs numbers memorized. So whenever they broke or people come in off the sideline, you just start screaming 21, 21, 21, which means 2 running backs. That's the first number, 1 tight end. So if a team comes out in that, so like the 49ers, if they come out with Kyle Juszczyk, Christian McCaffrey, and George Kittle, that's 21 personnel. You want to be in your base defensive formation, which is a traditional 4-3. 4 down linemen, 3 linebackers. That means Aziz is on the field. Now, the 49ers are different because they do more 12 and 21 personnel than anybody in the NFL. So if you're playing a team like the Arizona Cardinals, who have been coached terribly, I do expect that to continue with their recent hire. I thought that they totally botched the hiring process for a new head coach, but whatever. If they come out in 11 personnel, which means 1 running back, 1 tight end, right? So James Conner, Zach Ertz. Now you're taking off. You're going from a 4-3 to a nickel or a 4-2-5. Okay. Nickel means 5. 4-2-5 means 5 DBs. So you're taking out Aziz, your third linebacker, and you're bringing in your nickel back, which early on in the year was Samuel Womack, then Demo, then once Jimmy Ward came back, it was him. The NFL is in that nickel packages or sub-package defense, as it's constantly referred to, even though it's used more than anything else. It used to be called sub-packages. That is almost 70% of the time. So it's like a 70-30 split. 30% you're in a 4-3, 70% you're in a 4-2-5 with that nickel backer out there. So that's kind of where that fits. So the nickel player is such a more important player in today's NFL. If you jump back in a time machine in your DeLorean and go back to the 90s or the 80s, it's flipped. And so that's the difference.
There it is. So, guys, again, your base defense, just to sum it all up, is when those teams come out there with not when you don't see 3 wide receivers out there on the field. 3 wide receivers out there. Just go, if you guys don't understand it, go play Madden. And when teams showed up in 3 wideouts, you're going to have a nickel back out there. Make sure you're in your nickel package. If not, you're putting a linebacker on a wide receiver, and the quarterback shouldn't be able to notice that, and it should be easy pickings and easy money for him.
And I'll say this, Wayne, you have said several times, and I agree with you, the nickel position is probably the hardest to play in today's NFL on the defensive side, because you don't have inside help or outside help. You have a two-way go. If you're an outside corner, you could turn your back to the sidelines and just focus on the inside. As a nickel, they could go inside, outside. And you got to help in the run game. Like, you have to do it all. You have to do it all. And so when we personneled, whenever I was coaching and we were like picking what players go where, the nickel was the fastest, toughest guy we could find. Fastest, toughest dude we could find that could kind of do a little bit of everything, which is hard because you look at guys like Shark K'Wan Williams. He's tiny. That dude's a little bitty dude, weighs like 180. But he's got to play linebacker role. Yeah. So it's a hard spot to find.
It truly is, and I don't think a lot of people pay attention to the detail. And I know the reason why we were hard on Jimmy Ward is because like his succession rate was like 100%. Like, they throw the ball to catch.
First 3 games, there was every single target. I think it was like 19 and 19. So like 19 targets, 19 catches allowed. It took him a minute, but he got there.
It was terrible. It was really terrible. And so I kept saying, guys, you got to give him time. He's got to adjust. It was more of him in his mindset, just accepting the damn role.
Yeah.
I really think that's kind of like what it is. And it seemed like he always played better against better competition. When it was like no-name people in the nickel spot, he was getting burnt. And then when it was like a Metcalf or whatever, he stepped up to the plate. So maybe Jimmy is just built differently. I'm going to put a poll question out there in the chat. Make sure you guys hit that like button. All right. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do the subscription right now. You can subscribe to both channels while you're here. The poll question is simply saying which position should be most addressed in free agency. I'm going to give you 4: the tackle, the edge, right tackle, the edge, defensive tackle, or the nickel corner. The nickel corner. All right, so let's see what they say out there. John,
that's hard.
I gotta ask you this: free agency. That's what we're talking about in the show. Teams' needs. What would you say out of these position groups? Because we didn't go through you know what? Hold that question. Go ahead and finish the line. Let's start with the line.
Yeah, the line is the biggest. You had 14 players signed last year on the defensive line. 10 are leaving or scheduled to leave. It leaves you with 4 dudes. So now you can throw in one more with Kalia Davis, so you can say you got 5. This is going to be a massive replacements just across the board. And, you've got your rookie Drake Jackson. Can he step up? He's coming back. You got Kinlaw and Armstead and Kalia Davis. That's your 3. And you got Bosa. That's it. So, you're losing to Ebukam, or at least, again, these are players that are scheduled to leave, not necessarily. You're going to bring some back.
Correct.
But Ebukam, Hassan Ridgeway, Kerry Hyder, Maurice Hurst, Jordan Willis, Kevin Givens, Charles Omenihu. Like, that's a lot of cats. That's a lot of cats that are leaving or scheduled to leave. You got to figure some stuff out. And I'm going to be really honest. The defensive line probably got the worst grade of the entire team last year. If I'm giving out grades for units, defensive line got dead last grade, but you had the best defensive player on there. It was Bosa and Armstead and then just a bunch of guys. And so what are you going to do? I think I just kind of told you how I would vote on your poll.
And I got you. And last year, dude, they were building depth on that defensive line, and they thought that it sh- they they, they did the same exact thing as the Philadelphia Eagles did. They built the depth. The only difference was the Eagles' depth were just well more.
They were top heavy.
They were, yeah.
They had 6 quality D linemen.
I,
We
keyword is
went
quality.
with 10 average linemen. You know what I mean?
But the word was quality. It's
Yeah.
quality over quantity. I don't think
Yeah.
people it's so simple. It's always quality over quantity. And I'm not telling y'all to go out there and buy all the name brand foods and the name brand this and whatever. But listen, if it satisfies your constraint of what quality means to you, then you do that. But it's usually quality over quantity. And if you want to know the difference between the defensive lines, and plus both lines had injuries. So let's keep it a buck. They had quality players. We didn't. And we can go through that, which we shouldn't. But I think this year, Kyle Shanahan is going to revamp that. Listen,
I think
Chris,
so.
I know you could work with anybody, but we need to get you quality players out of those
Here's
games.
just a
Go ahead.
real quick thing to back up what you just said, which was perfect. 7 out of 8 of the lowest season grades on defense were all defensive linemen. 7 out of
What?
8. 31 players
What?
took defensive snaps this year for the defense. 7 out of 8 lowest graded players on the defense. And the only one that wasn't was Janoris Jenkins, who was a terrible signing in my opinion, but whatever.
We
So,
had to do what we had to do, bro.
yeah. Yeah, he was so bad on special teams. I don't know why they stuck with that cat. He
We
was
had to do.
terrible.
Let me ask you this: Janoris Jenkins or Dre Kirkpatrick?
Yeah, okay. That's like saying, okay, do you want Janoris Jenkins or John Chapman out there in freaking cover 3? You know,
It was Janoris Jenkins or Josh Norman. It was
hey
Janoris
man,
Jenkins or it's like you gotta
yeah,
pick your poison. Which
gotcha.
they're both poisons. Which one you want?
Quantrez Knight, that's who it should have been. Should have been cute. Should have been cute.
um, that's funny. So look, that's your defensive line. John gave you his answer. You're gonna be mad at me, y'all out there, because I'm with John. I feel like as much as we need offensive linemen, and I get it. And I know typically you can draft a defensive tackle, but they don't always pan out. They might end up like some of the players we have, like just average, right? I personally feel like, and I know, John, if it came down to this, edge or tackle in free agency, which one you signing?
Defensive tackle or right tackle?
Defensive tackle or edge? We talk defense.
I'd go edge.
Okay, so I will go defensive tackle. And so
Okay.
and it's funny, and I know why you're going edge, and it makes all the sense to get Nick Bosa a quality piece. We did that. We tried it. D4 didn't work out. And I'm not saying we don't do it again, but John, let's go to the free agent list. That's why we're
Yeah.
here. Let's go to free agent list. Let's do it, baby.
And we want to talk. Are we talking DT first or are we talking edge
No,
first?
let's go edge because I need to know dreaming which edge rusher pairs up with Nick Bosa on this free agency list.
The best is Robert Quinn, but he's 33 years old and he's going to be 10 million. Like he's the best. If you want sacks, if you want guaranteed production, Robert Quinn would be the guy, just a pass rush specialist. I don't think that they do that. And I don't expect them to do that. Listen to Throwback and listen to Wayne. I'm going to let you guys take this one away.
Listen, I get it. But I'm a Marcus Davenport guy. I always have been. I think he would be the perfect pairing for Nick Bosa. Why? He reminds you of what Kerry Hyder did that year Nick Bosa got hurt. I feel like he's always doing that. That's what he does. He can get you sacks. What was his sacks on this past season? He did deal with some injuries. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, this year was rough. He had 9 sacks the year before.
Correct.
And so that's what was huge. And I will say this, if you look at what Marcus Davenport does, it fits 100% with what the 49ers want out of defensive end. Somebody that can stop the run first, but also can bring pass rush. So he fits that to a T.
Which is
right?
what they thought when they traded for Samson Ebukam, or when they signed Samson Ebukam, they thought they were going to get exactly that. Now, I thought he was pretty decent in stopping the run, but his pass rushing skills just weren't there. He was second on the team with 5 sacks. Me personally, if I had to pick between one of those edge rushers, and I believe we did this exercise already, and a lot of people like Jordan Willis, I get it. Give me Charles Omenihu. Like, sign him. That's the guy that I feel like would be best staying with the 49ers moving forward. What are your thoughts on
And the
that?
versatility. I'm a big Omenihu guy. I'm curious to see what happens with all the new stuff that happened because I think that will play a role. But I love Omenihu as a player. D tackle, D end, run, pass rush. He does it all very, very well. I like him a lot. Now, two defensive players that I do want to sign that are not in house. One of them is Arden Key. I want to bring him back.
Ain't no way, bro. You said
Why?
because you said, "Oh, I want to." I agree with you, but he's gonna Robert Quinn money. That he's gonna
Yeah.
get Robert Quinn money, which I would rather pay him the Robert Quinn money than Robert Quinn, if that makes sense.
Fair enough. And then defensive tackle, and this is a big point
Here we go.
with why I said edge, is if you look at the defensive tackle class, man, there's a bunch of dudes. My number one hire that I want from the defensive tackle class is Poona Ford, the dude that played for Seattle Seahawks. I think he's one of the best run stuffing defensive tackles. Think about Hassan Ridgeway on steroids.
I would still take
That is
Ridgely
who I
back
want.
in the 1 year deal, John.
I want both. I want both.
Yeah.
Right. I want both.
Yeah.
But there's so many good defensive tackles that I think that you could go get. You can get some of these older guys like Akeem Hicks, both Eagles tackles, which I think they'll probably be done. Fletcher Cox and Jaron Hargrave, but like there's just so many guys. Deron Payne, who you've brought up so many times. Like there's 10 dudes
There's
that
10
I would be
dudes,
very
John,
happy.
but which one is gonna give you the quality? And
Poona
so
Ford. I want specialists. I want people that are going to be a dominant run stuffer or a dominant pass
pass
rusher.
rusher.
That's what I want.
But is he an or guy or is he one or the other?
Poona Ford. Let's see here. Let's see.
Yeah, because that's why I
Because
like Deron Payne or Hargrave, right? Because they're both. So you're
yeah, so if we're looking at Poona Ford, he's got 7.5 career sacks last year, 3 sacks, 2 sacks, 2 sacks the
so
last
he's a
3
run
years.
stuffer. Yeah,
He's a run stuffer. But I mean, if 3 sacks would have been what, third for us this year?
yeah, but can you? My thing is this: you get the pressure from the interior, it helps the exterior so much, and
He
so
does have 27 quarterback hits, so he's hitting the quarterback.
okay,
But yeah, it's not his forte. He is one of the best run stuffers in the NFL. Period.
okay. Either way, they got to fulfill these. These are the two. I'm going these two. I'd rather let Colton McKivitz start at right tackle and then figure out and draft the center or sign a center and figure out how they're going to fulfill
Pay the money there.
Yes. Yeah.
And these are the same conversations that take place inside Santa Clara. These are the exact same things because it's a if or and. Okay, do we pay a right tackle? Okay, well that money is being taken away from the defensive line. Okay, if we put all of the money on defensive line, well then now we have to use our draft picks on this, and we got a red shirt, and we got to go into that. These conversations that Wayne and I are having right now are the exact same conversations that the 49ers have in trying to get their plan. Now, what they have to do is they have to pivot because let's say we're going with Wayne. Wayne is John Lynch / Kyle Shanahan. I'm Adam Peters. Okay.
Gotcha.
And Wayne says, look, we are spending the money on defensive line. That's what we're doing. And we say, okay, that's our plan. And so you go offer Deron Payne, $10 million a year. And he says, sorry, I don't want to live in San Francisco. I want to go someplace with no state taxes. And so even though we chose to allocate that money that way, we lose out. Now you got to pivot because nothing ever goes the way that you want it to.
Exactly. John, round of applause to John Chapman. Do you know how lucky I am for him to wake up early in the morning to be on this damn show?
I love this, man.
Look, bro, I feel like you're so dead on about what the plan is going to be. The 49, and I really do think their plan is defense. I mean, they've been trying to draft the defensive guys, and Kinlaw, it hasn't worked out. I just feel like they need to go ahead and get a solid piece, an anchor on that defense. Maybe they draft an edge, maybe they don't. There's some good edges you can get later in this draft too. I've seen at least 15 of them, and all 15 ain't going in the first or second round of the and that was just from the Senior Bowl. I didn't even mix in the juniors from the other from the rest of the people going to the combine. The combine is gonna be lit too, by the way. I'm just saying, I feel like Drake Jackson's going to take a step up. He's going to take a step up in the role that he's going to. I think he really feels in that Samson Ebukam role. But I still think you bring in somebody. I think you
Yes.
bring in a person. Now, maybe you're right. Maybe you allocate the money and you get the guy that you mentioned from Seattle, and then you get an edge rusher that can just, do a specialist, which is what they did with D Ford. They got to go back to that way. That way worked because that was Nick Bosa's first year. D Ford was a specialist. Let's make that clear.
Elvis Dumerville before him. You remember Shanahan's like first year.
Specialist. I didn't even think about this. They're specialists. And they were free agents. Well, they traded for D Ford. But my point is, they're going to go out and try to figure out how to get some specialists in here. To not put too much on the plate of a young kid like a Drake Jackson, who's young, by the way.
Super.
I'm talking about how young he is.
So I think I don't know. It seems like they tried going with these complete players like Armstead that's like perfect against the run, good against the pass, and Kinlaw that's great against the run, okay versus the pass, but like they went run game first with every single person they brought in.
Every single person.
And everything was, we got to stop the run to earn the right to rush a pass. And it worked, okay, because you had the number one defense, whatever else. However, I do want a couple specialist guys, like you said. Elvis Dumerville had 6.5 sacks. That he was 33. Came in 2017, had 6.5 sacks, just being a specialist. I would be fine with that.
I thought the production that D Ford brought when he was healthy was so great for Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa had a tremendous rookie season because D Ford was healthy for the majority of it. And then his body just broke down. Then Nick Bosa, his sophomore year, he gets injured, and then the rest is history. Now he's defensive player of the year. So,
and I'll say this: the people hating on D Ford, I get it. I understand that. The reason why there is still $8 million dead cap on D Ford this year is because of Trent Williams. D Ford did the 49ers a solid when Trent Williams,
deal, John.
That's right. We were going to lose Trent Williams to the Chiefs.
He restructured his
they went
deal,
to
John.
D Ford saying, we know you're not going to play for us. If you push this back, we'll add a little bit onto it. D Ford could have said, no, I want my money now. He said, no, I want to help the team, even though I still feel I'm a part of this team. I still want to come back. Redid his deal just so we could keep Trent Williams. So I get the hate and how much money he's made. I understand that. But that dude, he came in clutch whenever it mattered.
And I think he did us a solid twice. Because that was the second restructure or the first restructure. He just restructured again so that we can keep somebody else other than Trent Williams. Yeah, I'm trying to tell you.
I get it. I understand the frustration, but context is important, right, Wayne?
I agree. Context.
Love you,
this
man.
mother sucker, yo.
I'm sorry.
I love it, but context is important, right? Because if you don't provide proper context, I mean, people will have imaginations, and I think that's what's wrong with the world. I think everybody needs to enjoy the imagination. I miss having imaginations. Remember, John, me just painting a picture, like giving you something, you had to paint your own picture to how it worked out and how it ended and things like that.
I was not good at those things. I'm not an imaginary guy. I'm not good at those things. Look at throwback.
I didn't say it. Anyway, listen, guys, I need you to do us a favor. We're not done yet. We have a few more minutes with you guys. Listen, go out and support. Listen, the Wayne Breezy Apparel is out. All right. And you can go to.
I bought my shirt.
And it was funny because John was like, how do I buy this shirt? Like, Breezy. I'm like, hold on one second. I don't know.
I got it. It's on its way. I'm pumped.
Go to www.twben.com/shop. Cop your Wayne Breezy Apparel. We got hoodies. We got tees as of right now. The hats will be on their way. All right. Thank you, John.
I'm sorry, Wade.
Let's get to some salary cap talk because the 49ers currently have $5.3 million to play around with before the new league year starts and all this stuff. And that's for their top 51 too, by the way. And so you might have to explain what top 51 means to those out there, but that's your top 51 players. I don't know if you have to do any more explanation than that, but yeah, that's kind of like how it works.
So teams fill 90 roster spots going into training camp in the offseason, draft, free agents. You sign 90. However, only the 51 top contracts count towards the salary cap. So players 52 through 90 don't count anything to the salary cap. Those are usually vet minimum, rookie deals, whatever else. So your top 51 players, that's where salary cap comes in. Now, 5.3 is all the 49ers have to spend this year. That's it. But not so much because the way the NFL works, you get to move stuff around. It's not like baseball. There's a lot of ways to make money this year on the salary cap. So let's go through just a couple of those. Number one is Bosa. Nick Bosa is currently scheduled as a $17.8 million cap hit this year. However, his deal's getting redone. That's gonna lower that number from 17 to about 7 or 8. So to put that into perspective, Fred Warner was scheduled for like a $13 million cap hit. That lowered to like 3. So the cap hit's going to go down because you'll spread it out. So that adds, $8 million. CMC has a $12 million cap hit. I think that'd jump from 12 to 7. That's another $5 million. Then if you want to get into restructures with Warner, he's got an $18.5 million cap hit. And again, the only way you restructure these deals is if you believe in the player being on the team for 3 or more years.
Correct.
If not, it's kind of like a house refinance, right? Like,
yes.
Well, you're going to be in the house for 5 or more years. All right, then it could work out based on the percentages that are out there. But if not, don't touch it, right? So if you don't think Fred Warner is going to be the linebacker for 3 or more years, you don't restructure him, right? But he's at 18.5. That could lower down to 10. So that's another 8.5. And then Armstead, this is the question. Do you think Arik Armstead's going to be on the Niners for another 3 years? Wayne, do you think he will?
Yeah, actually. I
do.
think he retires with this team.
Yeah, he loves this community. He's Sacktown kid, Walter Payton Man of the Year 3 years in a row, nominated by the 49ers. That cat ain't going anywhere. His wife's a doctor in the area.
I figured out why he didn't annihilate Dak Prescott. You know
why is that?
Because he knew Dak was going to win that award, and he didn't want Dak to show up in a brace. And I'm trying to tell you, they should have gave Arik Armstead the award just for that. I'm gonna let you live so that you could walk across the stage without a neck brace on.
I see what you're saying. Should have put him in the ground, man. But yeah, that's okay. That's okay. So he is the big one. This is the biggest cap mover of everybody because he's got a $24 million cap hit this year. You can knock that down to 11 and get $13 million more if you expect him to be around for 3 or 4 more years. So if you do just those 4 things that I just brought up, you're talking $39 million that you get to spend just in those 4 moves. So there's flexibility to be had here. Hope that made sense. Hopefully it wasn't too nerdy.
No. It makes perfect sense. There's going to be flexibility. And this is why we have Parag Marate. And he's going to be able to work some things out. Now, I know there's a lot of things going out there, trades and things like that. And I saw my man Akash, he put something out about like all these cap hits and why these players won't be tradable because of the cap hits. But aren't some of these like
get me riled up right here, bro?
Well, I was gonna ask you because aren't those pre-June 1st? Because after June 1st, doesn't the hit lessen a little bit?
Yeah, but when's the draft?
The draft is out. It's in April.
That's right. So if you're all those hits,
that's
okay. Can I talk about Debo? About Debo?
Let's talk about Debo.
I might get upset, but let's talk about Debo.
Let's do it.
Every damn offseason, we're content creators. Like, this is what pays my family's food, electricity, video games for my damn son. Not upset at all. Anyway.
Sorry.
Oh, Peachy, real quick. We got to do this. Peachy, man, it's so good to see Peachy in here. You take this one away, Wayne.
Yes, I have 0 problems providing context. Just not sure people can handle Peachy's context, though. Have a great Friday.
She's the best, man. She is incredible.
Listen, I don't have problems providing context either. Here's the thing. When I tweet something, it's my motherfucking tweet. I don't know If it's not yours, you didn't tweet it. It's just what comes out of my mouth at the time that I'm writing it. 9 times out of 10, there are typos in there, and I paid that Twitter service, and I just want to. I pay the Twitter service so that I can go back and edit something because I'm always having typos. It's unfortunate now that they put the blue check verified thing in that. It was the same service before the blue check verified. So if people are questioning why am I paying for my verification, A, it's because I can and I want to. B, it's because I was already paying for a service to edit my tweets because y'all were complaining that I was having typos. Not anybody watching the show, just those people that watch the show that want to complain and then go create a new account and try to do something different. All I'm saying is when I provide a text or a tweet, I necessarily 9 times out of 10, if I'm promoting news, I'm gonna give the context. But when I'm promoting like a hot take or something, that's just what it is. Trey Lance said this. My arm was dead because I did this. That's what I put in my text. I didn't break it down into detail that it was 20 months worth of throwing and 3 times a day and didn't have any weeks. I don't have to put all that. The only reason why I even put that out there was because everybody was complaining that Trey Lance had a dead arm and they didn't want to believe it when Mike Silver said it, including me. I'm like, how the hell can you have a dead arm? I didn't realize that he put in all that time. All I did was put out a tweet and Trey confirming, which admitting and confirming is the same goddamn thing.
I love this.
It's it. That's all I did. That's all I did. And I didn't know it was going to take off. So if Trey Lance, if you're watching, Quincy Avery, if you're watching and I caused any disruption to your stuff, my apologies, but it's my Twitter. It's my unfollow. Click it.
Yes. It's so simple. If you don't like something, you have the right to just not pay attention or move on. There's an unfollow, there's a mute, there's a block. We're big boys, you're big girls. You can figure it out, move on. You're okay. You're okay. Now, the funny thing to me is all the people that get upset are the ones that are constantly attacking. It's always the people that bully and attack and try to shame that are the most sensitive that there is. I love it when people make fun of me. I think it's hilarious. I love disagreements. I think it's hilarious. Yeah. That's okay. But people always, I don't know, man.
I'm a lovable guy. I just don't like to be told what to do and how to do it.
And if they come in your mentions, then hey, guess what? You came into my territory. You're in my backyard now.
Right. So get ready for the wrath. Anyway,
that's what it is.
Back to the show. We were talking about the matter of fact, I'm ready to end the show because, like, at this point, but all right. Did we handle the salary cap, the 5.3? You talked about there was going to be flexibility.
Yeah.
Give me some reasonable free agents the 49ers can probably go out there and get.
Man, there's quite a few. We talked about some of them as far as like edge and defensive tackle and spots like that. There's lots of safety players that you can get as well that are out there. Definitely high price guys, but guys like Adrian Amos, Von Bell, Eric Rowe. There's so many guys out there that you can go grab and just be fine. So I really do like the 49ers base. I like where they're at. I think they've got some position to move around with actual capital in the salary cap, and they got 11 picks in the draft. This is going to be a fun offseason, Wayne, and I think the 49ers are going to be just fine. I really, really do.
If you want to know why we're focusing on free agents as of right now, is because that's what happens first. All right. The combine is going to happen. Then free agency kicks in and it's going to be a frenzy, free agent frenzy, and then the draft. So guys, give us some time. We're going to be putting out exclusive content. John's Patreon is on level 1000. Wayne's Patreon is on level 1, but I'm going to get there. I promise. I promise I'm going to get there. So it's going to be a really good offseason, guys. I love y'all. Happy Friday. Enjoy your weekend. I'll see you guys back here on Monday. All right, John, we'll see you again next Friday, and I'll see you Tuesday for the John and Wayne Show. It's been real. Stay up, stay faithful, always. Did I miss anything? I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything because I always John threw me off. Somebody threw me off. I wasn't thinking about
it. Was Twitter. Me. It was me. John, it was me. My comment, man. I couldn't help it.
It's all, but it's love, though. This is what we do. All right. Have a great weekend, guys. Enjoy yourselves. Peace out.